everyone. Welcome to another expert session. And today we're joined by Davor Anicic, founder of Velebit AI, a consultancy that's been quietly helping companies implement real working AI solutions without the noise. So, with a background in corporate leadership and over 15 years of experience across telecom, publishing, and AI, Davor now leads a highly specialized team focused on machine learning, computer vision, and natural language processing. Velebit has partnered with a number of organizations. There are a few ones here in my clue that I cannot pronounce, and leading universities, and they're known for cutting through hype to deliver AI with real business value. So he's here today to help us explore one of the most misunderstood questions in business. How do we actually make AI work in the real world? So Davor, welcome. I always start our expert sessions with a controversial question. And the question I have for you is, has AI already become the new digital transformation, which is a buzzword companies pretend to implement but don't really understand?
Hi, Carlos. Hi, everyone. Yes, you're absolutely right. I agree. It's a buzzword that everybody has to mention. And as soon as everybody has to mention it everywhere, it becomes meaningless. So in that way, yes, it's like digital transformation. On the other hand, you still have options to do something new way now. But same as digital transformation. With digital data, we could make things in a new way. We started actually doing business differently, but we also are doing now. But I would look at it at like early early days of internet. Nobody could imagine, social networks. Nobody could imagine even the e-commerce sites and how advanced will these systems become. Nobody could imagine even the mobile internet back then. But then, yes, things transformed. So we are now in the early stage of AI, or early stage of data-driven online business and presence of all of us. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Brilliant. No, brilliant. Thank you. I think to the point of digital transformation, in the end, we're speaking about a cultural transformation within the organization. So technology, in my opinion, is always, of course, it's important, but you need to start looking at people and how you're going to upskill people, right, and prepare them. So a lot of, like in our community, we have several vendors, and a lot of transformations fail because uh, it starts with people, right? So if you don't start with training your people, like nothing really is going to happen. What I want to cover today is some real practical things that are happening in the world. So we had a call, and she's here. Very happy that she was able to join us today. Nicolette, she is representing the Copenhagen FinTech cluster. Massive FinTech community as well, based here in Denmark. And we were talking about she's going to have a training around AI, so she joined this because of that. I want to understand. I want to have us. I want us to have a practical view on what's happening in AI and how companies are using. So you're implementing this on a daily basis, but where I want to understand where I want to start today is like asking you, what are the biggest gaps between how companies talk about AI and how they actually use it? So for example, Gartner is very good at coining terms. That's what they sell. I'm always very critical of Gartner because they talk about composable commerce, they talk about a lot of stuff, but in the end, these are new terms so they can sell new things. What are the gaps, Davor, that you see, the biggest gaps between how companies talk about AI and how they actually use it?
Yeah, I think the biggest gap is that people now have to understand it's different than before. In a way, you're talking about the data, and you're actually using data. And data is something that changes over time, over space. Business changes, everything changes. So whatever you try to model, or you, I don't know, prepare yourself, will do it this way, and then we'll use AI to understand this data, information in the data, and then we'll use it in some good business way. Things change. So this is, like I would say, always living process, and you have to as you said, you have to start from people that will constantly then think on
Mhm.
how is their business being changed, and maybe this data they once trained model on is not really applicable after 3 years, and you have to have this, I would say, live data management that everybody has to think, but not only from like guys in IT, because everything can be okay on IT level, but maybe the business concepts change, maybe the industry change, maybe different data is now actually those that is relevant. And that's I think that's the biggest gap, because companies, like with all transformations, think we'll do it, it's 6 months, then we're over it, we don't have to think about it, and this one never stops once you actually start to using it.
So I think to your point, you used the word data several times in your answer. Data, data, data. So you're a data-driven guy, clearly, right? And in our networking session, you shared a data science conference, which just proves the point. Data is, I think there was a front page of The Economist a couple of years ago saying that data was the new oil. So since you mentioned data quite a few times, what's the role of data in all of the transformation that you see when you have to talk to your clients? Like, because I'm asking about the gaps. So when you have a conversation with a client, clearly you can have 5-year plans, right? You can have 5-year plans, but you have to look at the day to day. You have to understand how the industry is transforming. But what's the role of data, and what are some of the gaps that you see when you're talking to clients? Is it a misunderstanding on how data works in the organization?
Yes, that's exactly so. So the first thing is, you have to understand what's the value that's potentially in the data. So maybe this oil is not really good. I never like this comparison. Data is like oil. I mean, data is like, you know, oil well, but you have to actually extract something useful for it. So it's not
Mhm.
really the oil, it's just the possibility to extract the value out of it. But maybe you will not, maybe you'll get the water out. so, so
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
you don't really know when you start modeling and when you start thinking about what you want to do. And what nowadays, when people see this lot of headlines and buzzwords, and like AI can solve everything and it's more intelligent than humans, then they think it's like really more intelligent than them. And then, like one of the user requirements we got for one actually media house that had a really good streaming application online, and we came to them and start talking. We said, okay, what's the goal? They said, make us AI that will drive our revenue up. And I said, guys, that's really great request, but I can't do it. you know, it's, this gap from the data you have and the idea you'll have the best application in the world and your revenue just goes up. No, that's not something any human can solve. Otherwise, you would do it yourself already, I guess. And if human and your whole organization can't really make it, then your data will not be able to do it. So never put your goals too far from the data source in a way. So you have some kind of data and think incrementally. Think what can be done really and what is the first business goal you can achieve. Then maybe think what is now new transformation, maybe where's the new contact point towards the customers, because before you couldn't maybe reach it without this data, but now you can. So now maybe you want to embed some link in the video, but maybe before you couldn't, but now you can connect within a video some product, and you can detect in a video, in live video, you can detect some product. So that's the way how you think. So you really have to think on incremental way. You can't really say, okay, give me the data, give me the model that solves all our business problems and just makes us rich. Yeah, so people sometimes when talking to ChatGPT have this feeling it will solve all their problems. At the end, it usually doesn't.
No, yeah, I agree, and I think like as to ChatGPT, as using that as an example, I'm also evolving on how I'm using ChatGPT. I learned, and Gustavo has been pushing me a lot. Like he studies more than I do. I'm more like a practical guy. I like to use it, but asking questions and having ChatGPT as a more like a conversational partner, right? It's a very interesting way to test ideas, to find gaps in how you think. Like for example, to create the script. Sometimes I'm off script, but at least it gives me, you know, I have a conversation with GPT, and that's how I get to learn. What I'm interested in, I'm looking at your presentation here. You have some massive industries, or actually, you worked across 8 plus industries. That's
Yeah,
what you share in your presentation. If you like to share, you're very
yeah.
welcome as well.
That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to say. Let me maybe share the screen and go through it. I'll try to really make
Mhm.
it like 15 minutes very fast, and
Sure.
feel free
Uh,
to ask.
No, no worries. Just go ahead. I'm just gonna say, everyone, as I said, we're having like this fireside, and you will be able to join us within. Let me see here. Within 20 minutes, just ask questions. Nicolette, I know you have to leave earlier, so I'll invite you first. Okay. Just go ahead, Davor.
Yeah, okay. So that's me doing a lot of public speaking, and this is my hobby for last 25 years. So
Mhm.
whenever I'm not on the ground, I love being among the clouds. Uh,
Okay. Amazing.
okay, so this is about Velebit, and as I said, very experienced team at this point. There are 13 of us. There are 4 co-founders. I'm non-tech guy. I'm product guy, and other 3 guys are tech guys, data scientists, data engineers, and we are very experienced. We are on the market since 2019, and we are in the data science together since 2015, so more than 10 years now. And we work for a lot of different clients. So these are some brands, but I will not go through that to keep it simple. A lot of different industries. So what we live off, it's agency, AI agency. So we are AI focused agency. So we always work on different client use cases. This gives us a pleasure to work on different things, to have everything very interesting, and each day is a new day, or each project is a new project, completely something new. And I don't know, we just love it this way. So I'll give you some examples of things that we did, and the idea of this is actually to give you food for thought, so you can maybe think of some new way within your business from your perspective how to use data. That's the whole thing. So yeah, this is our beginnings started from C2C marketplaces, websites like Willhaben in Austria, the biggest C2C marketplace where people sell their secondhand goods. And this is the service that we actually launched in November, chat-based interface. We used API from OpenAI API to convert multilingual queries and then to transform them to SQL-like queries. Then we have a custom model deployed at the client for more than 10 years that understands images, especially things on fashion. Then we have some custom model to understand colors, patterns, and text. And we connected all these and some other backend development, and now you can chat for this client, chat within this app in the marketplace. And this is actually OpenAI launched almost the same service like 3 days ago. So OpenAI through
Mhm.
ChatGPT
Mhm.
said, "Ha, we will go to the search market, and now you can." They're rolling this out. So this I actually found this morning, and they said, now you can actually chat to find the items that we are looking for. And this is exactly in a way what we also did. And so what you do, you want to change how people search, because this is I would say, the main change that is now available. Why is it happening? It's happening because actually this new technology really gives you the chance to search iteratively, search through talking, and actually get results very, very fast. So one of the deep neural networks main things is that actually they are enormously fast in inference. So when you get an answer, it's very fast, and I would say number of tokens that are interconnected there, so tokens are like data points, or is enormous. So this is now the new why things changed in the last 3 years, just because of that, because now you can search differently and very efficiently. So we see the search as the main thing that's being changed all over the world. And just okay, we are in the area for a long time. So in 2016, the same client, we actually launched the first visual search in the world. At the time, we were part of the corporation called Styria, so original publisher, but we actually got even the NVIDIA award for that back then in 2017. But yes, these were the first times that you could search visually. So it was very early on. But now search is being changed on this iterative way where it's multimodal search. You can search images, text, and everything is connected. So things on a search level are being changed. And here just some I would say not random, but selected projects. This was projects for Creative Fabrica, Netherlands-based client that is actually selling fonts. So they have on sales over 5,000 Latinic fonts from different languages, and always some special character for some special language, like in Croatian, you have some special characters.
Mm-hmm.
They're always missing because the designer does it for his own language, but then you try to sell this font all over Europe, and designer is now working something else. So they actually we produce for them. It's just these characters that were missing, but 5,000 fonts and all European languages, so all special characters. This is one just simple computer vision task in case you have some kind of maintenance. This is American company, and they have people on ground, so you do want to do some OCR and then to actually extract this data from an image, correct the perspective, correct all the data, and then use it in an app. So we did this like 3 years ago. That was a really nice small project, but works in production. Then when LLMs came around, so this was first Mistral. Now it's almost 2 years ago. We actually did some fine tuning on large language model, which is nowadays I would say people do it, but not very often. But it was a special case for gaming. One big Croatian gaming company that has like game that has some scenarios, and we actually produce new scenarios. So it's like copywriting and doing some special tweaks within a game. You have to do the whole tree and the scenario within, and then you want to LLM to be creative in that way. So that was really good, interesting project. Then here are a lot of projects in different industries, so just to give you some feeling, from some email categorizations, satellite images, sea currents modeling, lead generation in B2B. We all did it. So we did more than 50 projects, and this is just the list, just to give you some feeling. And then I tried on this, like what are the data-driven strategies from the clients that we worked for. So yes, B2B lead generation is one of those that I see is really now. So everybody crawls everybody, and you should crawl your competitors and their web and try to find some leads there, or your prospective clients, or you have maybe some kind of clients in one country and you want to crawl the other country and get some extracted data from that. That's what this was, Swiss-based company that we did the project for. And then this is classical machine learning things are recommenders. So you are doing something and you want to recommend similar, these were vehicles and leasing on vehicles, and then you want to offer the best next offer to the same client based on what he did before, what he leased from you before. So recommending is, I would say, one of the most often use cases that we actually implement anywhere. And this is now something completely else. This is one very interesting biotech startup where we used a lot of public available databases, scientific databases, and scientific papers, and try to predict which metabolites in the gut microbiome can be associated with certain certain things that they have in their drinks. So they're actually selling some healthy drinks, and then try to do some scientific studies to actually make their case stronger for the things that they're selling. And then, of course, what AI can do, it can only give you some idea where to look for, and which compounds you will use for the clinical study at the end. Because there is still a science behind you have to actually do. AI will not solve everything. It will just narrow the space where to look for. So it's again search, if you ask me, just in a different way. Then this is medical image segmentation is typical use case. So all data is in the image, and you want to extract it, and you want to categorize different organs on the image. And in my opinion, this is the medical image segmentation. It will completely done by AI, like 95% by AI, and then 5% by expert doctors to finalize the decision. It's going very fast in this direction now. Then I have some more slides in e-commerce. This is our domain, but I'll try to really do it very fast, like 5 minutes. So I'll just skip some. And yeah, again, fashion search. Fashion is a really, really good example. I talked about it a bit before. So you want to have text-based image search. You want to be able to talk with the model and tell him what to do. But try download Willhaben app. It's openly downloadable from anywhere, and then use it. That's like you will see there our banner, and you will see how to search their fashion part, and then you'll understand. That's the idea, how to use it. So this is this interactive chat to search thing we really believe in, and I think will not only be used in these kind of apps, it will be used in also within your business. So yeah, if I were a big large company and I want to organize my data, giving people an option to search for it. I mean, my Windows search really sucks. I mean, I'm waiting for Microsoft to finally make their Copilot work really good local search on my computer. I hope it will be done. So yeah, this is the thing I see in the future being used on different ecosystems. And then this multilinguality, that's the new thing. So large language models just understand not all our languages, but all main languages in the world nowadays. And then now we can really search in different languages and understand that. Yeah. So yeah, I will not go into much details here. So still this visual search as a part of it. Then we developed some more niche things like color and fabric pattern detection things that are used also in these e-commerce websites. And then, of course, product categorization is one of the big things. When you have like 100,000 products, you have to organize them in a logical way to your client, and you always have to update it. And then you have some model that actually helps you make these things more automatically. You always have to have human in the loop, because the humans are those that actually understand what is logical to them or to their clients. But you need AI to help. So these are actually one of our current clients that we work on is customized product taxonomy for this big client. That's actually they're buying e-commerce shops and then reorganizing them. Yeah, so that's it. As I said, I see AI, the biggest impact is recommenders, intuitive
Mm-hmm.
search,
Yeah.
interactive shopping in the long run, and this all actually leads to some kind of improved user experience for everybody. That's the end. And then ethical AI, yes, that was one of the topics. We did one.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in Corona days. We did some, I would say, how the information is spread, and we did some analysis for Croatian academia around it. But whatever is ethical can be used for both ethical and unethical use cases. You have to have this in mind. But yes, we did this. And here, like image segmentation and education, this was a really good Croatian startup that was bought out by Google. We worked for them for 2 years. So if you have a kid, they maybe cheat with this application. If you're in the US, that's even very probable, because this is like the biggest app in the US market. So they can solve their mathematical problems by themselves. So it's not really,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also educational tool. So it gives them the explanation. So it actually helps them to learn and replaces tutors in a way. So yeah, that's it. I try to be as fast as possible.
No, it's amazing. Thank you. And I think it opens up a Pandora box there in terms of questions. I have a few, Davor, and then I'll open it to the community because I think it's nicer. It's always better if they participate. But we are moving from an economy where you would ask Google a couple of things, right? And then you would pretty much have links to an economy now where we can converse with a machine, and so as probably you mentioned search a couple of times, so probably the biggest impact in everything we do in the on the internet today is in relation to search and how we uh, have results, right? And why do you think search is such an important topic? I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
to get
it's
it
the
out.
biggest market that's out there. So Google
Mhm.
has like monopoly,
Mhm.
96%, I think, of world market in search. It's unbelievable monopoly. Of course, it's not worldwide, but it's Western Hemisphere, Western countries, 96%. China has
Mhm.
their own ecosystem. But in general, when you connect searches to the product and when you connect searches to the intent of the client, then you're actually getting product market fit. And this is the valuable information, of course. And it's always the same problem. We all don't want to be like recorded whatever we do, but on the other hand, the other side always wants to know what you want to buy and show it to you in the way how you will like it. So it's a never-ending story of matching, people with products. And yes, search is I mean, all the other searches that Google serves, like search for whatever you want, is here just to make you happy and keep you in their ecosystem. But they earn from e-commerce searches, travel searches. They live from the commercial part of search, of course. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's the biggest market. That's why the whole AI race started 3 years ago now. I mean, restarted in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because OpenAI attacked, and Microsoft, they attacked Google. Yeah.
For sure. That's a really interesting time. What do you think, for example, when should you build in-house things around AI, and when should you use what's available in the market? Because that's the same
Yeah.
discussion in commerce. Should I build proprietary solutions? Should I, well,
I,
what
I,
are
I
you?
would I would always say try to build at least some internal capability. So if you have 10 people in IT, make one AI, either let him learn AI if he's a good and he wants, or just employ the 11th one. So like, and I see it in the IT companies. They have usually like 5% of their IT force is now AI focused people that are really deep in, not just they understand how to use ChatGPT or maybe Copilot for development, but guys that really understand data and where it can be deployed. So it's like maybe 5% of each company's IT should now be AI focused, and I think that's the start. And then these people, together with the management, can actually, and maybe some external help from us or anyone who actually is good in the AI, but also you need like industry expertise, you need real AI expertise, and you need someone internally who's actually thinking from the benefit of the company. And that can be only internal people. I mean, everybody will sell you something from the outside, but internal people have to decide where it's the best business value to do it internally or to actually buy a service and then combine it. Actually, you always combine it. It's not if like, or it's always at the end. Some things you will develop internally, some not.
I'm not sure if you've seen, but Toby from Shopify, he said, we're not hiring anymore. He's not talking about laying off people, but he said, we're not hiring extra headcount. So make sure that you're using AI and make sure you're squeezing as much as you can, because there's definitely a lot of efficiencies that you can get from with the people that you already have in house, right? So, and the brains that you have. So building the workflows and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's always this fear everybody will be replaced by AI. I don't think everybody will, but some professions are really on the spot. So developers, in a way, they are, especially now
Mhm.
juniors and young developers, because nobody's really hiring as much as before. But it's also because we had over hiring after COVID.
Mhm.
So it's two things at the same time. On the other hand, I don't think. I mean, it's not development. It's understanding the business process and applying it to your business need, and that always has to be done by humans. I think AI will be a part of it, but I strongly believe in something we can call co-creation. So it will be, yes, either you discuss even the business with the AI, but then you decide, and maybe you develop, but AI gives you a hand, but then still you have to see if everything is okay and have to try it and have to understand deeply what's behind. It's hard to control what is in behind if you don't know how to code. So I think developers are needed. Maybe a bit less numbers will be needed in the long run. I think some other professions are more in danger. So like call center agents are really, I mean, their numbers will be reduced greatly worldwide. But that's anyway, I would say, quite a hassle of work. Nobody really wants to work in call center in a long time. So yeah, I mean, for his life. So yeah, people
Perfect.
people will do something better.
Yeah, that's right. I completely agree. Davor, I'm gonna invite our community to ask you questions here. But one of the questions that I have, and it's my last one, at least for now, and then the community jumps in, is more like a, without naming names, if you could share a real world project that didn't go as planned, and what did it teach you?
Ah, Uh, Let me think. All went as planned. No, no. Yeah, I mean, the thing that maybe, yeah, the one that I showed actually with the gaming company that used Mistral, at the end this model was maybe too early. So because it gave quite okay results, but they said it's a bit boring, so they didn't use it at the end. In my opinion, that was a good practice, but maybe too early. It was 2 years ago. They should try it again now. But I tried, I couldn't get their commitment to do the same like project. So it was maybe a good project, but a bit too early for the technology. And it was okay, but it wasn't production good enough. Now I believe it will be better, but now it's hard to say to get the client to do it again, yeah, to see if the
Right.
technology is better. So yes, these things happen sometimes. Yeah.
All right. So, hey everyone, please feel free to jump in. As always, we invite our esteemed and dear members to ask questions. Paulo, go ahead. I'm gonna shut my camera.
Just a minute. Something is happening here. Okay, so great. Davor, I have two questions. The first, I send you a text. So
I saw it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, how do you see this agentic thing and this all this frenzy? I think sometimes my sensation is that all this noise or some of this noise that is being put by vendors themselves, and obviously Satya Nadella, when talk about everything is going to be an agent, he's obviously trying to sell platforms and cloud consumption. But I think it's causing some immobilization, so to say,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of decision making. Do you see this?
Yes, I agree. In a way, like last 3 months with the agents are same like when ChatGPT came out, 3.5 ChatGPT. That was like now 2 years ago, if I remember correctly. At the time, everybody stopped, like, okay, this will solve everything, so we'll not do anything for 3 months just to see if we need to develop these older things or we just wait the model to do it. And then people now understand what are the. So now it's same with the agents. And on the other hand, everybody calls everything agent. So now, like before, I called it crawler. Now I have an agent, digital worker that crawls the web. It's the same crawler with the script. It's nothing else. So yeah, everybody is calling everything an agent. On the other hand, I do agree that agents are a new way of doing things, but they are very early stage. And if you try to combine several models that are do some kind of agentic work and then cooperate, all this tooling behind it of supervision and like understanding is result okay or not is still very early days. So it's quite often you connect 3 or 4 agents and then like you have 50% success rate, and the task is not very complex. So it's still early days. I think it will become much more robust and it will be much more useful, but the hype is maybe too early. So we will have this backlash that everybody say, this doesn't work. And it won't work in most cases. So you can do some simple things, but on the other hand, like AG2 and other platforms, AG2 is developed by Microsoft, and other platforms are actually developing this environment that will enable these agents. On the other hand, as I said, if you call everything an agent, that everything is an agent, that we live in a agentic world, and it doesn't have sense in my opinion. But I can't really steer this up; it's too big. It's just rolling around. Buzzwords. We humans love buzzwords. It's not about technology; it's about us and our psychology.
Yeah, and it's interesting that everything every time that disruption happens, it's usual to produce all this noise because people have to talk about AI at least to appear some sign some kind of smartness or something. But the other question I'd like to ask you is regarding to clients data. So you mentioned, and I found it very interesting and appropriate, that data is the base for using smartly and effectively AI and algorithms themselves. So we know that some a lot of companies struggles with disintegrated or non-integrated systems, silos of information and data. How do you usually handle these challenges when implementing the kind of solution you presented, and make things run, even if a not so curated or sanitized database from companies?
Yeah, I mean, data will never be clean. That's a fact of life. So actually, you should think of it as, in a way, what business cases are allowing data not to be perfect and not to be clean. And on the other hand, neural networks are stochastic by its nature. So they actually are like the data is not clean in a way, but not too much. So some percentage of error is good in the data for neural networks to get a better abstraction of important things. So it's just more of thinking what use cases actually support this and can be. So recommenders are really good example. So recommender can't be really wrong. I mean, what's the visually most similar thing among 1 million images? Nobody can tell. Like visual similarity is not objective function. But we will all agree more or less what is similar and what is not similar. But there is no objective one good result. And this is good example how you can use the data in the right way that's never clean. On the other hand, if you need like prediction when the earthquake will happen, it's not, whatever data set you will have, it will never happen because it's just too random of a thing. Even if you had million years of data set, the whole uh, randomness of this event is such that no data will predict it. So people have problem understanding what is what is stochastically possible, what is not possible, what is really statistics and gives you the exact result, and what really doesn't. So it's more of understanding some math behind to be able to define the use case sometimes. And then yes, you can find a lot of good examples, but I wouldn't say everything can be solved with AI. Yeah. So I mean, humans
Great.
can't solve everything, so it's just the same.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Davor. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Other questions? Anyone?
It's coming. Marva is coming now. She's joining us, I believe. Marva, please open your mic when you can.
Yep.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Davor. That was very insightful, actually. I have a different question, actually, because I really sense it on my many meeting tables recently. As a business advisor that is totally new to AI, like everybody else, especially that I am not such a digital person after all from the past, are there any questions or a guideline or like a playbook question format that I need to know as a business advisor that I know at the at the back of my head to actually help assessing the businesses? Because I'm always asked, okay, we're evaluating a certain company or a certain system, and AI always comes to mind. And you have all the IT people and the AI people, they're just putting their ideas on the table. And I find it actually very challenging to challenge them from a business perspective. So, any advice on that, on how we business people can have a common language with the AI developers and how they see the data and how they see the solutions?
Yeah, it's a complex answer. Answer is not easy. I mean, you have to really understand the business and actually understand what's the value you can derive from data, and then understand how to do it as cheap as possible from the technical side, because it's really different if you want something to be done in a batch once a day and whenever, or you want real-time information being really like new models every 10 minutes and everything has to be up to date 100%. That's really nice, but really expensive. And if the business logic is okay with new information once a day, then do it once a day. So I would always, from this perspective, say to the business guys, how do you think you can get the biggest value out of it? And don't tell me you just want the big revenue, because that's not information. You want something concrete. What drives your revenue? What kind of business process actually makes you earn, and how to make it better? What's your idea? and then ask the technical guy on the other side of the table, okay, tell me how to do it as cheap as possible, and talk. You have to make them talk and find the solution that's optimal, because it's always inside the company. Because I mean, you come as external, we are sometimes also consultants. You can't get in details that fast. So you have to make them talk one to each other in that way. Yeah, it's always both business and technical perspective, and look at this AI as just new way how to do things efficiently and actually cheaper and on a bigger level of data drilling. But at the end, it's something valuable you have to get out.
All right.
And don't and make them not forget external data, because that usually happens. People just say, we don't have the data, but maybe you can get to it. Maybe there are external databases you can search. Maybe you can crawl someone, maybe your competition, maybe you can crawl some other market and understand. And then you can incorporate this in your business decision and in your valuable data outcome.
Yeah, that's very insightful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Perhaps continuing the question that the Marva did on that note. I mean, AI, there's a lot of IT in AI, but there's also, as you're saying, the business decision, because there's clearly a case that if you're not efficient, you're going to be lagging behind. I'm actually interested in how do you, Davor, do you perhaps advise and challenge people also on to understand and to get the information out? Because I'm not sure if IT would be very protective these days of like, could I lose my job? Like that kind of stuff.
That happens on both sides, on
Mhm.
business side and on AI side. Yes, it's from us as external consultants or developers. It's always sometimes hard, and yes, you get pushback and things don't happen, but that's okay. Then we go to other client. So I would say it's on a company culture to actually, it's not easy from inside. It's not easy to actually get people to really think on the benefit of like business and not to feel endangered. But that's not, we can't help on that. We are just developing things, but I understand it as a problem. Definitely a lot of companies have. On the other hand, yes, you have to really understand the value that can be derived. And I always try to, I usually don't see it happening, but I always tell people, think offensively, don't think defensively. So if you can grab another market because now you have new potentials with these new ideas with AI, try to, don't defend your market, because things are being changed so radically that someone will enter your market. However you think you will defend it, you will not be able to do it. But try to, see new opportunities, because when technology changes very fast, it's always easier to get new opportunities than to defend your, quasi monopoly in some market. Someone will enter, you will not be able to, protect it. So, but that's very hard to. That's a mindset. It's not easy to get it.
Yeah.
But
No,
maybe
for
that's
sure.
also an idea for Marva, how to approach the clients. Tell them to be offensive. Tell them to get for new ideas and new potentials in new markets.
Sorry, Gustavo, you're gonna ask your question, but still like thinking of Marva, because she's a member, by the way, and we did an expert session with her. And Marva, you can join us at any time you like if you still want it, please. But I think in her core clientele base of clients are family, are second generation, third generation companies, right? So scale ups and some family businesses. And so I believe that when you're talking to companies that are not listed, I cannot say that for sure, but typically the owner, you're going to be talking to the owner of a company like yourself. You guys are owners, so we tend to be more aggressive. We tend to be more like, let's experiment. You can maybe be more, you want to be in control of decisions, but I think there's a difference there as well in the companies that we target, right? Like companies that are listed, they're going to be, well, sometimes there's a narrative. They need to say that they're doing AI, but they're not really doing, like because they're listed, and there's the stocks market that dictates everything. And then there's smaller and medium-sized businesses that could be potentially more aggressive and could experiment more as well. So do you see differences in companies that are they have an owner, and you talk to the owner of the company and how they approach these things?
I have too small of a data set to get the conclusion. I mean,
Mhm.
we work like 15 projects a year, so it's
Mhm.
10 to 15. It's not a big number. But in a way, I would agree with you. It has to be different. I worked in a corporation, and it's more of not
Mhm.
making mistakes from your personal perspective than to get. I mean, if you do something really, really great, it will be success will be shared, at least by
Mhm.
your bosses or all people
Mhm.
around. And if you screw up, it's your mistake. So this
Mhm.
is usual thinking in any big corporation. It's very hard to not to have it like that. And then yes, you will not do risky stuff. You will not think aggressively. You will not think how to take new markets. You will actually defend. And I agree, it's easier to work. So yes, smaller companies are faster on the market. That's why they survive. Otherwise, we would all be dead very fast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Gustavo, go ahead, please.
Hey, Davor. Yes, I was. I I think that the last question got a bit about what I was going to ask, but do you see any type of market or any type of vertical that's been more reluctant, let's say, in adapting and adopting AI solutions or something like that? I don't
Okay,
know.
I didn't hear you very much, but if I understood, you're asking if some parts of the market are more slower in adoption rate. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, certain industries are slower. One of the industries we are now targeting for last 6 months is actually biotech, because it is much slower industry. They have a lot of very valuable data. They're not tech guys. They're not IT tech guys. They're tech guys, but in different tech. So in a way, it's a big potential, and it's a really good market, I think, in the long run, to enter it. And yes, that's why I'm going that way. Yeah, but of course, there's a regulation in that part. Data is proprietary, so everything has to be slower just because of that. But then, yes, it will be developed. All industries will have data-driven initiatives, AI things. They will have them adopted in the long run. It's just that some businesses are, faster by their nature, or the data is easier to get, and models are easier to get. Remember that everything that we do, you nowadays never start from the scratch. You always start from some open source model you find on Hugging Face or somewhere else. So you actually enter the domain, you see what's out there, so we know how to search open source community. And if the license is okay, it's Apache to our license, we can use it for commercial use cases. Then we start from there and then do some custom modeling or some additional prompting, training, and combining the ecosystem around several models and connecting them and putting them in production. But you never start from the scratch. But as I said, in some industries there is almost nothing because everything is proprietary. Then things go slower, of course. But yes, everything is moving in the same direction.
Yeah, and have you so yeah, forgotten remember at the same time. So we're seeing a lot of AI uses for the end customer. So companies trying to get AI for the end customer and to client-facing solutions. Have you seen, but in your experience, and you've been working with this for such a long time, have you seen any type of shift around that? So are companies, are corporations looking for AI solutions mostly for client-facing roles, or are they looking also for, or they're looking more for internal, yeah, for their internal teams?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I understand.
to
Yeah,
elevate their.
I would say both are happening. You will see those that are going towards the end clients because they are more visible, but a lot of companies are doing actually trying to adapt their processes, and then it's always the same question: do I wait for my ecosystem to become like AI enabled? So, for example, okay, do I wait for my, I don't know, we are developing in some tool and do we wait for it to get AI features? Or do we try to implement Copilot as a separate tool or something else? Or we have CRM and do we wait the CRM to be like you have maybe HubSpot and you're getting some AI features there? Because, of course, all ecosystems are also slowly, not slowly, but adapting as fast as possible AI. So it's always depending on your size and options and money to invest, what we will do. And then you will look for some products that are already in your industry. And in some cases, you will go to the companies like ours that will do some custom work. But in that case, it's usually only the biggest companies will do it. So for instance, for Linde, from big German company that we work for, 100,000 people employed, really big company. There is a sense. It had all the business sense to develop custom model for email categorization that works worldwide, multilingual, really specific to their industry, their chemical industry. So you can't really use standard off-the-shelf LLM. They have their own cloud. They can deploy it locally. No security issues. So they have everything there. Infrastructure is there already. And then you need some custom thing that's actually really advanced, and you can do some really custom modeling that has sense. But it's a really huge company. In a company with like 200 employees, you will just wait until your, I don't know, email provider. I mean, we wait for Google to get some Gemini features in Google because our like email provider is still just Gmail, and it's enough for 15 people company. And we don't have any specificity on the industry level. So it just depends. So I would say everybody's doing on AI on many different fronts, and sometimes it's the smaller use cases where you implement it. Some departments use it faster, some will wait and then use it later. But we see everything. So I would say we talk with small companies, big companies. It just depends. But yes, everybody's talking about it. So yes, things are happening.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Brilliant. All right, that's my last question then. It's more like the trends or perhaps shifts in AI that executives should be watching closely over the next 6-12 months, if any, more than I would say experiment. But what are the trends there, Davor, that you're seeing? What to expect short term?
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, short-term effect I haven't seen in business so far is this reasoning networks. So like this deep research type of models, they're much harder to implement and to like include them in your business cycle. I mean, everybody can use them and talk to them and get some new ideas, but how to put such model in your business process and actually use it on a daily basis, it's much more complex how to include it. So this is not something our processes are, I would say, prepared to do. So I think that will be one of the things to watch over, and whoever gets the idea how to really get business value out of it will get the competitive advantage, because it's a new thing. They exist for 6 months, and they're not so straightforward, because like, okay, I understand that model now sees an image and understands only an image. It can describe it and it can search it. That's, I would say, we can comprehend this as humans. But how to understand, how to include AI reasoning model that's not a human, but it is some kind of intelligence and has a lot of capability to process information. But even for us, I don't know how I would, because you need both industry know-how of your own industry and processes, and understanding what these models are actually capable of doing, but what they're not capable of doing as well. So these reasoning models, they're really great, but they have limits, and you have to understand these limits to be able to actually include them in proper way. This is like really new thing, and I think it will take maybe a year or two to actually get some really good businesses based on these models. It will come.
Yeah. No, very interesting. And I mean, those limits are also pushed. Like if you think about ChatGPT a year and a half ago, I mean, the answers they had a quality. Nowadays, you can really have a conversation with GPT, and the model is improving, and over time, right? So
Yes, yeah, that's exactly. And now you have to think how to use it in the business. And
Mhm.
in one way, now people got used to it and now
Mhm.
understand it better than a year before. But again, models moved away from, I mean, people now understand talking with ChatGPT, but still very few people actually talked with O3 and really, I mean, you can talk to it on the level with ChatGPT. It will be the same answers, but you can't get much more out of it. But you have
Mhm.
to ask proper questions.
Correct.
For which you have to be deep in your business, and actually you need to have such really deep minding questions to ask, because we have to be aware that most of our work is not really thinking about. It's not very few of us are doing scientific thinking each day. I'm not doing it first. So,
Davor, this has been fascinating. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you today. Well, what's the best way to find you? We were, broadcasting this on LinkedIn so people will see it, but we're gonna create snippets and all of that. What's the best way to find you, please?
yeah, LinkedIn is the best way. So I'm there all the time. So just click my name and last name on LinkedIn and connect with me. I'm more than happy to connect with everyone. Yeah. So
Sounds brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. And stay tuned, because we want to do things in the Middle East and other markets. So we'll talk about it.
thank you. Bye bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
We'll
Thank
catch.
you.
Yeah. Bye. Catch you. I'll catch you off.